Disgust. We all feel disgusted at times. We're disgusted by many things. Excrements, bugs, other people's sense of fashion. Many of us are disgusted by some particular things like mushy food or hair. But today, I want to point out that there's a specific kind of disgust that we all experience at times, and that may not be so healthy in the grand scheme of things. So, a few years ago, I had the experience of participating in some kind of open biology lesson. There were a bunch of kids gathered around some kind of dissecting table, and at some moment, a teacher just took out a bunch of pig's eyes, for real. And the kids were disgusted. Most of them just balked at the sight or turned pale. The teacher didn't really seem to notice. She was just casually cutting the eyes and showing us all the cool stuff like blood vessels and lenses and others. And I remember that was the point when I started wondering why. Why do we react like that? We also have pretty similar organs inside of us. Why are we grossed out by our own body parts? Body parts as exemplified by dead animals on the street or on the butcher's table before they find themselves on our plates, wounds, and others. All of them generate disgust, aversion. But why? We humans consist of that. We are just bags of skin filled with flesh, fluids, and chemicals. Why then? Maybe one of the reasons is the subconscious connection between seeing body parts outside of the body with pain or death. Maybe our brains just feels like it's dangerous and we shouldn't feel comfortable in this very situation. Maybe, but it wasn't always like that. If you'd ask your parents, not to mention older family members, about, for example, their encounter with blood or dead animals, they would probably have much more to share about than we do. And not only because they simply live on this planet longer than us, but also because of the character of their times. Also, people raised on the countryside would have much more experience on this field. For example, it wasn't so uncommon that your child would be witnessing or participating in disassembling a chicken to make a soup, killing, chopping their heads off, skinning, carving. It all probably sounds monstrously and inappropriate to us, but we're forgetting that it is just part of the circle of life. We're forgetting about that because someone has already done it for us. We got our meat appropriately prepared, packed in plastic packaging. We don't even see the connection between what lands on our plates and the body parts that we actually eat. It's not so common to us to eat with blood or pig's eyes on a daily basis unless we follow a specific profession. It's not like people who do like empathy or human feelings. For them, it's a necessity that we can and do willingly avoid. Our times let us stay sterile and wash our hands from it. I can also see the difference between my childhood and the childhood of today's children. For example, my younger siblings, cousins, or just kids from the neighborhood. And of course, I might be wrong, but I feel like today's children are way more scared of bruises, bugs, than we were. I remember breaking knees, breaking legs, bruising knees, cutting frogs, or picking up worms. And I see kids now crying about their mosquito bites. And I also suppose it's a matter of lack of exposure. They usually now play online games, calling each other on the phone or chatting as soon as they learn how to use keyboard and spell words. Even people who are just 10 years younger than us are going to have completely different lives and experiences than we do. They're being even more separated from difficult yet natural topics. Okay, but why does it even concern me? Why should we even care? There's always a person who will do it for us, so we would have much more time for our studies, friends, or any other kind of things that can distract us from repulsiveness. But that's how civilization works, right? But the world is constantly changing, faster than we're able to notice it. People are becoming more and more dependent on technology and big companies. None of us is fully independent anymore. We're constantly dissociating ourselves from things we want to see or talk about, creating more and more taboos. In essence, we have become incapable, incompetent, and defenseless. People are not able to provide food by themselves anymore. The bigger and greater the progress, the more do we cut ourselves from what's indigenous and natural. Not only the breeding, but also culture is no longer familiar to us. Most of us wouldn't be able to cultivate plants on our own. We're not able to make or grow food, sew shoes, build a table. We're all dependent on concerns. The ability to hold back your disgust can also be needed in other situations than just hunting or preparing meat. Someday, in a car accident, for example, you might need to be able to remove vomit from an unconscious person's mouth. You might be forced to remove pieces of glass from a lacerated wound. You might need to be able to handle and perform CPR without letting your disgust bring itself to the forefront. I don't want to threaten you with such disastrous scenarios that might never come, but history of the world proves that basic survival skills can be useful even in our times. Not only apocalyptic scenarios will require from us to keep our spirits high. Most of us will probably start a family someday. We'll have loved ones, kids, or pets, or any other creature to care for, which probably already sounds apocalyptic to most of us. But the point is, parenthood isn't pleasant. Children eat their own snacks, drink a drink, spit it out, and drink the same thing again. They eat sand or whatever they find on the floor. Their imagination is unbounded, even in terms of disgust. And pets are no better. Even I had the experience of taking care of seriously sick cat when I was forced to wash piss, blood, and vomit out of my walls. And I believe a person is only fully independent if they are able to care for themselves and their loved ones when they want or need to. I don't want to educate anyone since I have no experience in neither raising children nor putting food on the table, but I think that we should stop this process, for the next generation would be more hopeless than we are. I feel like we should give some respect to the nature as it is, in all of its abomination and ruthlessness. We could also work on our mental resilience. We shouldn't avoid stuff like that, but also not try to create some. We could also work on some basic medical skills and responsibility, because someday many may depend on us. I also think a good idea would be to create some kind of a little farm to the best of your ability. For example, a little coat or greenhouse in your garden, or just some rings on your kitchen window if you live in an apartment. Creating your own food source would not only make your life a little bit more comfortable, but it's also far more eco-friendly. I believe that we should get out of our comfort zone and accept the reality as it is. Because let's face it, it's disgusting out there.